So here you are, standing on the edge of everything you've ever known, staring into the vastness of what could be. This is the moment most people turn back, not because the path ahead is impossible, but because the voice within is still whispering, what if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if I'm not enough? But let me tell you something. The greatest danger is not that you'll fail. The greatest danger is that you'll succeed at the wrong thing, that you'll spend your life climbing a mountain only to reach the top and realize it was the wrong mountain. Don't let fear decide your direction. Fear is not a compass, it's a cage. But do you want to know what is a compass? Conviction, not comfort, not consensus. Conviction, that inner fire that says, I may not be the best, I may not be the fastest, but I will not quit. That's what builds legacy. Think about Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, not for power, not for glory, but because his conviction would not bend. He walked out of that cell, not as a broken man, but as a world leader. That is what it means to win the war within. And it starts with a question. Not, what do I want? But, what am I willing to endure for it? You see, pain is the price of greatness. Not occasional pain. Consistent pain. The pain of rejection. The pain of sacrifice. The pain of discipline. And the most silent pain of all, the pain of being misunderstood. But the warrior doesn't flinch. He doesn't need applause to confirm his mission. He doesn't need agreement to validate his purpose. He moves, with or without the world, because he understands it is better to be alone on the path of purpose than surrounded on the road to regret. You want freedom? Don't ask for it. Fight for it. Freedom from fear. Freedom from doubt. Freedom from the mental chains you inherited from people who never dared to dream. Burn the blueprint they gave you if it doesn't fit your fire, and draw a new one in the ashes. Because here's the truth they don't want to admit. You were not born average. You were trained to be. Trained to stay in line. Trained to stay quiet. Trained to dim your light so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Break that training. Rewire your mind. Success is not an act of luck. It's a consequence of alignment. When what you think, what you feel, and what you do all move in the same direction, nothing can stop you. But if your thoughts sabotage your feelings, if your feelings paralyze your actions, if your actions betray your dreams, you will always live in conflict. And the mind, my friend, the mind cannot thrive in contradiction. You must become one. Unified, whole, undeniable. No more internal civil wars. No more second guessing. No more half-truths to keep you safe. It's time to step fully into your life. To look in the mirror and say, I will not betray myself today. And then do that again tomorrow. And again the next day. Until the discipline becomes identity. Until the identity becomes destiny. Because you don't get what you wish for. You get what you're wired for. And the wiring begins with the words you speak when no one else is listening. So speak like you mean it. Think like it matters. Move like it's already yours. This is the battle of your life, and it's being fought every day you wake up. Not just in your job, not just in your goals, but in your thoughts. Win there and you win everywhere. And if you ever forget who you are, if you ever feel the weight of the world pulling you back into silence, remember this. You are the storm they never saw coming. You are the fire they couldn't extinguish. You are the dream that refused to die. You are not broken. You are becoming. So rise. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Plant your flag on the battlefield of your mind. Stand tall. Eyes forward. Heart steady. Because when the mind is conquered, the world follows. This is your time. Not to hope. Not to wait. But to win. Win there or lose everywhere. You weren't born to live paycheck to paycheck, tiptoeing around the edge of your potential. You were born to build, to create, to own your life with such fierce intentionality that the world has no choice but to respond. But first you must see. Clarity, that sacred light in the fog, is what separates the dreamers from the doers. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. And most people, they have no target, no aim, no compelling reason to rise before the sun and keep going long after others stop. Without vision, the people perish. And without clarity, the dream dies a slow and silent death. So you must ask yourself, what do you really want? Not what the world told you to want, not what looks good on Instagram, but what you, in the stillness of your being, truly desire. What does wealth look like for you? Is it time freedom, impact, providing for generations you'll never meet? Whatever it is, you must define it, own it, carve it into your soul like scripture. Because the universe responds to precision. Vague goals lead to vague results. But clarity, real, emotional, obsessive clarity, bends reality in your favor. Edison didn't stumble into the light bulb. He decided it would exist and then failed 10,000 times until reality caught up. He didn't need a backup plan. His clarity was the plan. And so must yours be. You want wealth? Then see it, feel it, name it, breathe it, and then move. Not once, not when you feel like it, but every single day. Most people dabble, but the wealthy, they devote. They act when tired. They build when scared, because they know momentum favors the disciplined. And every small action compounds not just in the bank, but in the mind. You train yourself with every decision. You are either strengthening the muscle of action or the muscle of excuse. There is no neutral. There is no pause. Only growth or decay. And this is where you must become ruthless. Not with others, with yourself. Ruthless in standards. Ruthless in focus. Ruthless in protecting the vision you carry. Because this world will test you. It will tempt you with shortcuts. Mock your ambition. Whisper lies into your ear disguised as logic and realism. But realism is often just the word used by the fearful to keep you from remembering that the greatest things ever built, planes, phones, rockets, companies, fortunes, were all once ridiculous ideas in someone's mind. And that someone was just like you. Let me continue writing the next portion. They were just like you. They had doubts, they had failures, they had critics who laughed in their face, but they had something most people will never touch: unshakable inner authority. They were poor in resources, but rich in vision. They were surrounded by noise, but moved with clarity. They were tempted to quit, but stood tall with conviction. And that, my friend, is the difference. Most people lose before they begin, not because they can't win, but because they never claimed the fight. They surrendered to comfort. They bowed to fear. They drank the poison of conformity and called it being realistic. And then they wonder why their lives feel so empty, so routine, so predictable. But here's the raw truth. You cannot be wealthy in a body that you neglect. You cannot be wealthy in a mind that you pollute. You cannot be wealthy in a soul you've silenced. If your habits are weak, your bank account will follow. If your beliefs are broken, no strategy will save you. If your identity is one of struggle, you will sabotage every taste of abundance that dares enter your life. So change begins within. You want to build wealth? Then become the kind of person wealth is drawn to. The person who walks with power before they ever hold a dollar. The person who thinks long when the world thinks fast. The person who makes decisions based on who they are becoming, not what feels good in the moment. Because that's the trap. Most people sacrifice everything for the illusion of now. They trade decades of freedom for fleeting pleasures. They numb the discomfort with entertainment. They reject the process and worship the outcome. But wealth doesn't answer prayers from the comfort zone. It is earned in the trenches, in the invisible, unglamorous, uncelebrated days where no one is watching and no one is cheering. It's built in early mornings when the world is asleep. In nights when you're tired but you choose to sharpen the sword instead of scroll. In every decision to read instead of rant, to move instead of mope, to build instead of beg. That's the real secret. Not the trends, not the hacks, not the hype. The secret is you. You are the builder and the breaker. You are the creator and the destroyer. You are the one who gets to choose. And that choice, that powerful divine daily choice, will either elevate you or erase you. So let me ask you again, what are you choosing? Because every time you avoid responsibility, you delay wealth. Every time you indulge in fear, you dilute your future. Every time you doubt your gift, you disrespect the source that gave it to you. You were not born for mediocrity. You were born to reign. But here's the twist. The throne isn't given. It's claimed. And claiming it requires more than desire. It demands discipline. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you could be. It is the gatekeeper between someday and now. And I know the word isn't sexy. It's not glamorous, but it's holy. Discipline is how you worship the dream before the dream rewards you. It's how you show life that you're serious, that you're not just here to talk, you're here to build. And building takes time. It takes vision. It takes hunger. Because wealth is not a destination. It's a byproduct of who you become in the process. So fall in love with the climb. Fall in love with the grind. Fall in love with the quiet mornings when it's just you and your vision and the fire in your chest that says, I will not be denied. Because that's what the world responds to. That unwavering frequency, that internal roar, that silent but violent determination that says, it's already mine. I just haven't arrived yet. And while the masses wait for signs, while they seek permission, while they look for guarantees, you move, you act, you become, you study, you build, you refine. You say no to distractions, to doubters, to versions of you that no longer serve. Because you know, wealth is not about becoming someone else. It's about stripping away everything that is not you. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to play small. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty. It's about choosing growth over comfort, contribution over consumption, creation over comparison. And yes, it will be lonely. Yes, it will be misunderstood. Yes, it will take longer than you want. But it will be worth it. Because when you finally look in the mirror and see a person who is free, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, energetically, you'll realize that was the real wealth all along. You'll realize that wealth was never just about the numbers, never just about the cars, the homes, the headlines. It was about becoming the kind of person who never needed to be saved again. It was about peeling away the fear, the programming, the excuses, and standing face to face with your truth. That you were always enough. That you were always powerful. That you had everything you needed the moment you decided to rise. And in that decision, that sacred, irreversible decision, the world starts to change. Because now you're no longer waiting. You're leading. You're no longer asking, how long will this take? You're saying, however long it takes, I'm not leaving without it. And that energy, that fierce, non-negotiable energy, is magnetic. It bends time. It opens doors. It draws the people, the opportunities, the wisdom you need, because you finally aligned with the person who was worthy of receiving it. And here's what no one tells you. The world is not waiting to approve your greatness. The world is desperate for it. It's starving for leaders who live what they preach, who walk into every room with presence, who own their path without apology, who give, not from scarcity, but from overflow. That is what wealth gives you. Options, not just of money, but of moments. To create, to contribute, to shape reality like a sculptor with a block of infinite marble. And when you live like that, when every breath is a vote for your vision, not your limitations, you don't chase wealth. You become it. Because wealth is not just money. It's the way you think, the way you speak, the way you treat time, energy, and the people around you. It's the standard you hold when no one is watching. It's the way you choose purpose over noise, again and again and again. That's why most people never build it. Not because they're cursed, but because they never committed to becoming. They wanted the shine without the scars, the fruits without the fight, the glory without the grind. But you are not most people. You are not a drifter. You are not a doubter. You are not a seeker of permission. You are a builder. You are the storm. You are the exception. And yes, the road will test you. But so what? Every test is a forge. Every trial is a teacher. Every delay is a question from life itself asking, how bad do you really want this? So when life throws you down, you get up harder. When it whispers, you can't, you roar back, watch me. When it closes the door, you build a new one. Because nothing, not rejection, not failure, not time, nothing can stop the one who is aligned with destiny and refuses to quit. The battlefield is not out there. It's in here. It's in your routines, your beliefs, your self-talk. It's in how you respond to the silence, the boredom, the setbacks. And most of all, it's in what you choose to believe about you. You want to build wealth? Then stop trying to get rich and start trying to become rich in character. Build a mind so focused, so fierce, so faithful that even if they took everything from you, you'd rebuild it twice as fast. Because you didn't build it by luck. You built it by the law of decision, by the law of discipline, by the law of cause and effect, of seed and harvest, of belief and behavior. You built it by becoming unshakable. So now the question isn't, will I become wealthy? It's, who must I become so wealth is the natural result. Because when you focus on becoming, everything else, the status, the influence, the freedom, it chases you. So become the one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't wait, who doesn't need to be seen, praised, or validated because your purpose is already louder than the applause. Become the one who moves with clarity, speaks with fire, lives with urgency, and gives from overflow. Because wealth is not something you earn. It's something you embody. And when you do, life stops being a struggle. It becomes a testament of what's possible when one person decides they will no longer live beneath their power. This is why most people never build wealth. But you were never meant to be most people. You were meant to build. You were meant to rise. You were meant to leave something behind that echoes beyond your lifetime. And it begins, not tomorrow, not next year. It begins now. So don't just hear these words. Live them. Build the mindset. Build the habits. Build the vision. Build the life. Because no one is coming to save you. And the good news is, you don't need them to. You are the one. Now go and build.